Morning, internet. Such a bright and beautiful day outside. My mom's making okra on high heat with some cooking oil. We're using canola oil. Garlic, ginger,
and red pepper, and coriander.
Sun-dried red chili pepper, or the powder. The powder. Coriander. Turmeric. And that's it. We got some chopped onions and a tomato. Having some tea and some coffee and vegetable omelet and a butter whole wheat round bread. It's all cloudy, you guys. It just started pouring. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I don't think you can. But yep, that's just it's a lot of rain. It's just rain. That right there, I guess. My mom just added in the onions before. So, some of the things that I'm currently thinking about is actually medical school, because my bachelor's degree is going to be done in no time. In fact, I didn't even plan to do my bachelor's degree until pretty much everybody, well, this one lady from Karachi was like, you have, it looks really good in your application that you have a bachelor's degree. At the time when I wasn't planning to do my bachelor's degree and I was just going to go straight to medical school. So right now I'm just kind of thinking about what am I going to say during my my medical school interview. So what I've heard, rumor has it that that I will sit down in front of a board of old people. That's just how I imagine it in my head, and I feel like George Washington is kind of off to, left center type of thing, just kind of making the whole thing smooth. Okay, but I feel like I don't really have any preparation whatsoever as far as my interview and how it'll go, because I don't know, what's definitely going to get me into medical school. From my experience, and I feel like I should articulate, in any given situation in my vlogs, and otherwise, and probably my medical school interview. I feel like I have to talk about my experience, and I feel like I have to pretty much tell them what I've been doing up until that point that would make the board like want to agree to have me attend that medical school. So, like things, I know definitely that, I can add to my interview that, I was doing medical assisting for, a little while at a younger age. Your grades, your GPA, I think your MCAT score definitely is a like a high hitter as far as your application goes. I'm not really sure what else all goes into the medical school interview and application process. I'm sure that there's an application, there's an interview. They want to know, is this person mentally and physically able to perform the duties of being a medical student. So they want to know that you're going to be a good student, that you're that you're not going to let them down, you're not going to fail. That's not even in my vocabulary, by the way. Failure is not an option. How many times have you heard that? Yeah, so anyways, so they want to, and in my own opinion, in my personal opinion, I think that, in the interview, like you should give them your 115% all, because, and you need to not lie either. You shouldn't lie during the interview. Why? Because they're gonna know. Okay. Not only are they just really old, they old and wise, they also are probably highly educated, MDs or and professors. So they've seen it, they've been there, they've done it, and you're pretty much kind of cornered. So, and they know that, and you should know that, what to expect, but I think confidence is number one, and the only way to gain confidence is to build your resume, build your experience, and of course have that education and that MCAT score. Have those good grades. You want to have a bachelor's degree, and you want to have a reason as to why you would be a good student for their university. Yes, medical school is expensive. I know that is just a very widely known fact. So, but it's not the money that's going to get you into medical school. I can promise you that. If you're thinking that, oh, I can afford it, no big deal, my parents are super duper rich, and everything like that. Like, and you know, they know everybody that's in the board, for example. You know, something like that. That's not gonna be the only thing, because you could have the money and you could have the connections, but when you go up to the board and you don't know what to say, your mind goes blank, then I mean, you're probably gonna lose out on a admission to medical school. So the MCAT is really, really important. I feel like in this in the interviewing process for medical school. I think, you know, if you do well on your MCAT, you know, you get the score that you want, then I feel like you're gonna know like what to talk about when you go in front of when you go in for your interview. You know, because you know, a lot of the things that are covered on your MCAT, like biochemistry, I know is on there and stuff. You need to be very, very fluent in these subjects. So, yeah. Physics, I mean, like, it is possible for you to know everything that there is to know about physics. And so, and the MCAT, that's what is, what it's about, is that it basically covers physics. It asks you like physics questions, but it's very like detailed. The questions are very, very thorough. So, and then it could be any aspect of, I think, physics 1 and 2, I guess, and everything that comes into that, like work and stuff. Velocity, but it's not all like limited to that, you know, because I only took physics 1, so I still have to take physics 2, and it's gonna talk about it's gonna cover like all of physics 1 and 2. So yeah, so it is possible for you to learn every little chapter of physics 1 and physics 2, and then yeah, I think you should then be able to like be confident in taking your MCAT for the physics portion, and then, you know, getting good results. But that's just one part of the MCAT, so that's just one example. But knowing all of the subjects that are covered on the MCAT fluently, having a bachelor's degree will help you to know all of those, be familiar with those, and whatnot. Definitely, because without a bachelor's degree, I don't think you would be nearly as I definitely don't think that you would be nearly as familiar with those subject matters as you need. Yeah. So for physics 1, that's whenever I first started college, you know, it was all just a brand new, like, kind of learning experience type of thing. There was like a learning curve and whatnot. So, and kind of getting adapted to college life. For me, I thought, you know, I was gonna like die. Leave a comment if you felt the same way when you entered college. You know, so I was in a constant state of panic for the first couple of years, maybe 1 year, I should say. Other than my science classes and my math classes, I was doing really, really good. In both in math and science, I was doing really good. I was not panicking. I was very calm. I was like, yeah, I got this. I got this. I got this. So that was the only thing. But outside of that, it was really different because I grew up in South Carolina. They don't really, like, I was always like brought up to think that they don't really have the best, you know, education infrastructure system. You know, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. So I kind of felt like at a loss a little bit. I felt like always as if I could have gotten a better education. So I guess that was, yeah. Yeah. So I didn't really, you know, focus as much as I could have. But I also didn't take a whole lot of like any of those super like, well, now that I look back on it, nothing really seems to be very complex or anything like that. I feel like, you know, I can overcome it and I can achieve and everything. Even at the time, like, I just felt like I just didn't know enough about the world. Like, at that age, I felt like I was young and dumb. So, you know, and it was because I'm a Muslim girl. There wasn't a lot of like Muslims around me when I was younger. I didn't really focus on anything outside of my college. You know, it was just like a dark hallway, if you will, with the light at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. Just look straight ahead, basically, like a ship. So, yeah, I had all of these other things in the back of my head and everything, but mainly I was trying to be like, you know, just trying to stay focused, because, yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to focus on way too many things at the same time, like thinking about entering into college and then also thinking about, you know, all the different subjects and my classes and my schedule and, yeah. So, I don't know. When I first entered into college, I was like, why are they making this seem more complicated than it actually is? So, I don't know. But, anyways. So my first couple of years, you know, they went by really fast, and I was like, oh, this sucks, you know, because I didn't know that, like, college life was going to be like that. But yeah, it went by really fast. Then I was like bored, and I was like, because I still wasn't sure like if I was going to be a good, you know, if I was really planning to go to medical school at the time, because they would, you know, they would put you into college, and they would like, a lot of the other, like my peers would be like undecided majors and stuff, so you had to pick a major. So but yeah, so at first I was undecided for the longest time, but in my heart, like, and in my brain too, I knew I was, you know, pre-med, but I don't know. Anyways, the first couple of years, and then I like, you know, I was like, okay, fine, I think pre-med is doable. So I was like, let me take off like a year or so. I ended up taking off about a year and a half from college, just no classes, and just kind of like, because I had been going to school every single day of my life except for the summer, from like 7:45 to like 4 in the afternoon every single day, in high school, and then I continued, you know, the clock, once college started as well. So yeah, I had to finally, so I just kind of like, was like, okay, I think, because it had been a year and a half that I had been taking courses and going to classes on time, and kind of getting familiarized with college and the routine, basically. And then I basically, after that, I basically was like, okay, I think I've, I'm familiarized with the college routine. So, and then at that moment, I went ahead and I said, I'm going to be pre-med. So I went ahead and I took off from college about a year and a half, because I was looking at a long road ahead. I was looking at, you know, a lot of college. So I wanted to kind of live it up a little bit, see what I would gain out of that. I gained a lot, actually. So I don't know if, I don't know, but yeah, and then after that, slowly I then moved down to Texas, and I, you know, started doing the medical assisting like pretty much right away. I was working for a little bit, and then I started doing the medical assisting, and you know, the program, the vocational training for that, and then also entering in, back into college and doing my associate's degree, and slowly kind of like adapting to college life here in Texas, and you know, taking on those tougher courses and everything like that, thinking that, you know, I could handle it. So yeah, I like the newer learning education system, and you know, yeah, and I just like to be able to kind of, it's like learning how to swim. So I had to start learning how to swim at the same time, taking on tougher courses. So I like the challenge, and yeah. But I was also kind of stressed out at the same time, thinking about college and how would I actually go back to college. Then whenever I actually started working as a medical assistant, I started gaining like on the job, like kind of wisdom that you will normally gain and experience, and learning more about yourself. And so about a week and a half into my first job as a medical assistant, I knew that that I wanted to become a physician. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna ditch the job. No, I actually ended up not ditching the job though. I still I continued to work as a medical assistant, continued to gain experience as a medical assistant, because that's going to work in my favor as well later on down the line. So yeah, so not only does you might have like 2 bachelor's degrees, it helps that you would have 2 bachelor's degrees, but for me, I think that having a registered nursing degree under your belt, or having a medical assisting experience, work experience, like on the job experience, it really tells a lot in the interviewing process, in the medical school interview process, because you've seen like up front, what it takes, and everything. So, you've seen firsthand that what you're going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis, what your work is going to be like. So, if you, like myself, if you did not let go of your job and you continued and you were persistent, then and you persevered, then you that matters a lot. Then it shows that you are probably an excellent candidate for medical school. Now, I think, in my personal opinion, money matters when it comes to medical school. So you got to be thinking with your brain. And so, working full-time, in the field that you're in, it may be like information technology, or it may be healthcare. Working full-time as a registered nurse, or as a medical assistant, a scrub tech, it sort of opens your eyes as far as like like basically your income. So when you go in front to do your interview, and they see that you've been working full time, and everything like that, that's really good, because then you don't have to think about the money portion of it. You don't have to look at the board and be like, oh, well, you have so much experience and you did so great on your MCAT, and you had this and this clubs that you were in prior to your interview, and everything like that. It can look really, really good, but when you're confident about, when you don't have to think about the money portion of it, that's half of it. The money portion is half of it. So when you don't have to think about that, you can only think about yourself. And so, like, when you're in medical, like when you're actually working, you know, as a medical assistant, for example, you'll get to speak to other physicians. I mean, you'll get to, you know, of course, you'll interact with other healthcare workers, physicians, nurses, medical assistants, you know, and it kind of puts you at ease as far as financially, how it'll go for you. So that's another reason to work, because yeah, you know, you gain experience at the same time, and you also, you know, can kind of pay your way through medical school yourself. You don't have to worry about, you know, I don't know, anything basically, as long as, you know, you can earn money, and you know, save up for medical school. So if you have parents at home like me that are thinking about you, that are worried about you while you're going to be off on your medical school, you know, that also helps the board when you are financially secure, and you're confident in the interview. Financially. So, like, yeah. So you're not thinking about that constantly. It's done. After. Just have some lunch right now. This is a whole wheat plain round bread with the okra and onions. Really pretty outside, guys. I'm just having my dinner right now. This is a whole wheat round bread, plain, with the beans. They're like lentils, whole lentils. Mom made me a milkshake, mango. Alright, you guys, well, I'm gonna go ahead and close the vlog for the night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.